Okay, so we're going to go over the mean and median of group data, which is a little different than how we calculate just the mean and median of just random numbers. And when we talk about group data, a lot of times what we're talking about is making a chart of something like a histogram. Okay, so I've just chosen some ranges, and let's say, who knows what it is? It's your scores on a beauty contest, and these are all the contestants. Okay, so we want to know how many people in this histogram scored a 1 or a 2, and it turns out there were 2 people in that range. How about from a 3 to 4? Well, there were 3 people. From 5 to 6, there were 5. 7 to 8, there were 1, and then there were 4, 9, or 10s. Okay, so this is the frequency of everything. Now, it becomes tough if only given this data to find the mean because we don't know exactly who got a 1, who got a 2. Maybe all 3 of those people were 4s, or maybe all 3 of them were 3s. So it gets tough to calculate. So this is kind of our estimate of the mean. We find the midpoint of all the ranges. Okay, so the midpoint of the first range would be 1.5. The midpoint of the second range would be 3.5. The third range is 5.5, 7.5, and 9.5. Okay, so that's another part of our chart. So let's kind of just make this simpler. Now the next thing we're going to do here, as you'll see, it's supposed to be written as f at I times m at I. In other words, we're multiplying the frequency, okay, by the midpoints and getting a value for it. So for each of these, we have to go about doing this. And the reason we do this is because I'm going to show you the formula in a second. And actually, I should show you the formula now so it does make sense. We can see where our end is. The formula for the mean of group data, sometimes known as x bar, is the sum of the frequency times the midpoints divided by the sum of the frequency. Okay? And what we're going to do at the end is kind of get a total as we go through this. So we'll quickly bring up these values. 1.5 times 2, that's a 3. Okay. 3.5 times 3, and we'll get maybe you to help me out as we go. That's 3. That's 10.5. How about 5 by 5.5? 27.5. The next one, 7.5. And 9.5 times 4?
38.
38? On the dot? Oh, great. Okay. Now, because this says the sum of, we need to find the total. In other words, we need to add all of these values up. We also have to find the total of the frequency. So I'm going to get you to total these numbers, and I'll total the frequencies here. So it's 10. Turns out the frequency has a total of 15, or 15 people in that. 86.5 is the sum of all of those. So since we've done that now, the sum of our frequency times our midpoints is 86.5. And the sum of our frequency, and I'll just double check again, 5 is 10, 15, yeah, is 15. So our mean in this case is 86.5 divided by 15.
7.56.
Oh, you got it already? Great. 7.5.
Oh, sorry, 5.76.
Oh, 5.76? 5.76. Okay, so it's pretty close to around the middle of this stuff. Okay, this is great. So we've got a 5.76. Now, to calculate the median, we know the median is usually the middle term. And in this case, I'm actually really lucky. I know my total frequency, the total of contestants, to say, we're 15. So we're going to have numbers ranging from 1 all the way to 15. I can quickly figure this out. Because this is an odd number, I can divide 15 by 2, okay, which will give me, yeah, which essentially is telling us that our 7th number here is going to be probably, so let's go through this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, and I'll move 15 over. 13, 14, 15. Okay. So one way of doing it, and because it's 15, I'll show you a logical way. We cross out the top and bottom number each time. So 2 and 14, 3 and 13, 4 and 12, 5 and 11, 6 and 10, 7 and 9, and 8 ends up our median number. So I think I misspoke, but When we have our 7.5, when you divide it, we round it up. So our 8th term is our median term. Okay? Now, it doesn't mean the median is the number 8. We just know the 8th term through all of this will give us our median. So we do something called a cumulative frequency. And what that is we add all of the frequencies up as we go. Okay, so our first one, well, there's only 2. And then our next one, we do 2 and we add 3 to it because there's 3 people in the next category. So now we've done 5 of the contestants at this point. We then add 5 to the next one because that's our next value. We've now done 10 of the contestants at this point. We then add 1, we've done 11, and then we add our final 4. We've done all 15 of the contestants by the time we get to 9 and 10. So we're looking for where the term 8 lies, okay? And we know that at this point, we've only done 5 contestants. And at this point, between 5 and 6, we've done 10 contestants. Well, we know 8 is in there. So we know the 8th term is in the 5 to 6 range. So the medium term will be our midpoint from there, okay? It'll be our midpoint from that range. And because it's the 8th term falls in there, our median term is going to be our midpoint, which was our 5.5, okay, is our median term.